Welcome to our final blog for the Zero to Cloud ERP Success in 8 Weeks or Less series. My name is Samantha German, and I've been working with Oracle software since 1997. For the last 3 years, I have been solely focused on cloud. Today, we're going to talk about AP Scanning 101. We're going to go through getting started, what are some of the key application setups, and most importantly, expectations. Getting started is very important. When you're going through the process with the sales cycle, you want to make sure that you inform the Oracle representative that you want to do AP scanning, as it is a separate license. In addition to that, your SI partner should know that you need to be provisioned for that specifically on a pod, or log an SR and let Oracle know that you need AP scanning. This is important because you will receive an email. Within the email, you're going to get 4 links, or let's say, 2 emails. And what I mean by that is, if you see on the left-hand side of the screen, you have exfp-test.fin.invoices@workflow and etc. You're going to have 4 of these. One is going to be for test invoice, and if you look at the bottom, one is going to be for test expenses. So make sure you send it to the correct email address. The other 2 email addresses you will receive are going to be for production invoices and for production expenses. After purchase of your cloud software where you requested AP imaging, make sure you receive an email that will have this information in it. If you do not, when you start your project, make sure to inform the SI that you have not yet received your AP scanning. As of the end of 2015, it might take approximately 3 to 4 business days to get the pod configured for AP scanning if you're not on the proper one. They absolutely can do it. You just need to log an SR and let them know you have AP scanning and you have not yet received your email. Application settings is always the trick. With Release 10, getting the application up and starting to test scanning has become extremely easy. There is a document on My Support that walks through setup, routing, and web imaging. You'll want to make sure to look at document 2022320. It's an excellent document that you want to make sure that you have a PDF copy or a link on your browser to reference that at any point. It's very detailed and will aid you in getting imaging up and running quickly. From a setup perspective, you want to make sure you set your default business unit setting, confirm that it's a TIFF image, and also you want to schedule that import payables invoices with invoice image as the type. When it comes to routing, there are things you can do within the email subject. All of these are additional setups to what you see on the left. You can go through and also do a look at your payables lookups task. So from your FSM, and there's an earlier blog series I did on Functional Setup Manager, you'll want to look at that. And then you'll want to look at Manage Task Configurations for Financials, and that will allow you some more workflow information. And at the very bottom in the middle screen for routing, you see the workflow you want to review. That's the Fin AP Incomplete Invoice Holds. For after you go through this, if you do not see that image in your scanned images form, you can go to your particular site to look to see how it's going on in web imaging. Notice on the right-hand side for web image, I have https://xxx. That's going to be your pod, and the rest of that you would key in and then look for your supplier. But to help you out a little bit to get started, let's do some screenshots for application settings. I did have an earlier blog series on Functional Setup Manager, so you might want to reference that. When it comes to cloud, they do an excellent way of capturing the needed setup information, so we no longer are walking around with BR100s or application setup information on our own PCs. In this example, I'm just kind of showing you the green arrow in the upper right. You can go and hit the right down arrow, go to Setup and Maintenance. So you see on the left in red, you're in the Setup and Maintenance screen. In yellow highlighted at the bottom, I have within my implementation package a Manage, Administer, profile, values, task. I actually added that in addition, so I could easily make notes on that. So if you see in the middle upper part of your screen and the yellow highlight edit status, a box will pop up. Within there, if you look down on notes history in the notes box, you could actually put some notes that will be relevant for you. At the end of your project, I highly recommend that you export your implementation project package, as it will have all these notes in it. Again, excellent way to keep track of everything you need to know without having a separate BR100 on your computer, and also being able to share it with your team members. So I create an extra task and I put that in there just to kind of help me get through all of my projects, because there's no way to remember all the little stuff you need to make it work. Once you're within that particular profile option, in the code you'll put default_org ID. You'll hit search. If this is the first time you've ever done this, the red box below will have no values in it. I would like you to click on the default org ID and then hit the green button with the red arrow, and you want to add a level. Yes, I see it only says users, and users right now is the only option that we have. So you are going to have to add by username. So take that in consideration for your timeline. You'll add every user, and then that profile option with the green arrow is going to be the default org that you want. After you do that, it's important that you schedule the process import payables, and you'll want to make sure you can do that from either the tools, if you're the upper left corner, there's a screenshot, tools, scheduled processes from your home page. Or in the bottom left, you see I can do it from Navigator. When I'm in Invoices and under Tasks, under Invoices, you see Import Invoices. Either one of those is going to get you to Scheduled Processes. Once you're within Scheduled Processes, you'll want to hit Schedule New Process and put in Import Payables Invoice, and you can end it with a % so you can see all available options. If you highlight Import Payables Invoices and hit OK, it'll take you to the detail screen. Again, put in a business unit default if you choose, the ledger. Your source is very important. It will default to spreadsheet. Change it to invoice image. Up to you to put in an accounting date. And then you want to hit submit. Now the blue arrow is pointing to advanced. The reason it's pointing to advanced is because when you are in production, you want to schedule this process to run on maybe an hourly or every 45-minute basis. During your test scenarios, I highly recommend you hit submit. And the reason I do that is because as you're testing different formats and different ways to get the particular image on there, you want to basically submit one invoice, run the process, and make sure it picked up properly. Then you will have cracked the code on how best your instance will handle the invoice emails. As the process is running, you will see two processes kick off: Import Payables Invoices and Import Payables Invoice Reports. If you highlight Invoice Payables Invoice Reports, you'll see down at the bottom the output, and you'll want to look at that. If it says no data found, then the email that you had sent did not get populated correctly in the right location for it to pull into scanned images. If it says there are exceptions or no exceptions, then it did pull invoices into your invoice queue. At the very first time you do this, if you put Import Payables Invoices and forgot to put your default org, you will receive an error on your Import Payables Invoices process. Expectations. Don't forget the licensing, and don't forget the email that you should have before your project starts. If you do not have this, again, it'll take 3 to 4 or 5 possible working days for Oracle to get that pod right for you. Your initial scans. Set your expectations correctly for that. It's very important that your supplier is in there at least 24 hours before you start scanning their invoices. Also, sometimes what we do is we create our own in Excel invoices to make sure they're very crystal clear before we try scanning vendor invoices, just to make sure all the processes are connected correctly. So you might want to consider that as an option. And allow time. When it comes to OCR, it takes time to make sure that that scan is going to pick up all the information correctly. And have a plan B. And what I mean by that is consider the amount of effort that you're doing and what you're looking for. Your plan B might be go live, where your imaging is receiving that within the software, therefore attaching the invoice, scanned image to your invoice automatically within your Fusion application. But maybe it's not picking up all the fields or rows correctly. So consider that as a plan B and allow time for OCR to be configured and tested, and it does have an intelligent imaging. So allow time for that to adapt itself to your invoices. If you're thinking that you could go from 0 to all invoices scanning in various formats, being 100% complete on your go live, and you have a financials implementation that's anywhere from, say, 6 to 12 weeks, I would like you to sit down with your SI and seriously consider that plan B option where, yes, the imaging will be up, yes, it will be working, yes, it will be creating that invoice, and it will be attaching it to your document. There might be some manual effort at that point to get the fields populated correctly, but start there and have a successful implementation. Feel free to follow us online, as this is our last of this particular blog series. We will be blogging in the future about different aspects of Fusion applications. Thank you.